So
Okay.
women, and I'm going to say women because men don't think like that at all. But a woman will say, "Hey, I'm only dealing with this guy. It's not a relationship. We didn't have a conversation. It's not a commitment. But I'm only going to give it to him, right? Right. Well, he don't understand that, so he's doing whatever he do because there has never been a conversation that this is going
Right.
to be just us. And so
Right.
Reckless
emotionally, when she
territory.
finds out that he is doing whatever he's doing, then now it's a whole different fight. Now you got to because you made an emotional connection that he didn't make.
Welcome back to the Crucial Convo podcast. Got my peoples in the building today as always. So let's talk about it. So there's a couple of things we wanted to tackle tonight, right? So monogamy, why people cheat, right? So we'll talk about all of that. So the first thing I think we should kind of lay out first. Let's just get right to it. So monogamy, I think, is one of the most interesting topics between men and women, right? And there's many different schools of thought depending on where you come from, what culture you're in. But we're in America, right? So America is generally a monogamous country, right? are or are we? I don't know.
We
But
pretend to be.
we, yeah, we're
Shoot, this is
supposed
the
to be.
land of
I guess that's what
debauchery.
it
I,
is,
I,
right?
don't, I don't know about land of monogamy. I don't know about all that.
Well, that's the ideal structure, I guess, of what we're trying to go for, right? In America, supposedly, allegedly. So the first thing I want to go around. I want everybody to tell me. I'm not talking about. We're not doing political correctness tonight. I want everybody to just keep it funky about what you feel or what you see. So, is monogamy natural? Do you think monogamy is natural? And I want the ladies to just give me like a 1 minute thing of what you feel. Is monogamy natural? Tell the truth.
Uh, if you want me to go first, I mean,
You talking?
whoever.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's get with the truth. So you guys know me. I like to go biblical. I'm a woman of God. I love to go biblical. I love to go by the Bible. So is monogamy natural? So when God created Adam, right? When he created him, he took out his rib and he created Eve, right? The Bible doesn't say that he created more than one woman for Adam, right? He created Eve. So yes, monogamy it is natural. You said
Okay.
1 minute, so I'm giving my short answer, and then
That
when
was
you want me to go
you went right
forward,
to the
then I'll
point.
go.
Okay. I know you're gonna be digging back into the verses, to the Bible verses later, but I appreciate that short to the point answer. So what y'all say?
I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know.
You don't know.
I just, the world has changed so much, and uh, as I love to say, as y'all love to hear, as urban pop culture has changed
Oh
over the
man, here we
years,
go.
We're back there again.
yes,
We
we're
ain't,
back
we
there
ain't even
again.
15 minutes in, and we heard the
Yes,
term.
and as society has changed, as what has become acceptable has changed, as people have become a lot more open about their proclivities and their preferences, um, I think that a lack of monogamy has become a lot more acceptable. Whether it's natural or not, I don't know that necessarily matters anymore. People are
Well, we gonna
now.
we gonna get into. I don't want to cut you off, twin, but we're gonna get into what's going on in society. But I just wanted
Okay.
to know what you felt
I don't
about
know.
the feeling? Because I
I don't
know,
know anymore, to be
you know,
honest.
okay, I
That's
can
my
accept
answer.
that.
I don't know.
Mm.
That's real.
Oh gosh. I'm kind of on the fence too. I think it sounds good to say that it's natural, but like said, like these days, everyone's view of it has just totally changed. It's totally flipped. So, yeah, I don't know if it's natural these days. I think back in the day, more so, people were way more committed and going with what LaFonda said. But now, no, I think that's a little bit out the window.
So I think what's happening right now is we're talking about whether people do it, but whether people
Yeah.
are doing it as far as culturally and how things have changed, which
Mm-hmm.
I understand. But I think the conversation, I guess, or what I'm asking is that do you guys think it's biologically natural? From a biological standpoint, is it natural?
Hmm?
Yes, I still stand with my answer. Yes, um,
Okay.
because there are like, okay, so you guys heard of like soul ties and things like that. You
Mm-hmm.
guys do know, like when you're married, of course, you become one, right? So there's what you call like spiritual transfers. So like whatever is in her goes into you, and whatever is in you goes into her. And so with that being said, do you notice that at times, like uh your 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 character stays the same, but you pick up certain behaviors of that particular person. Like both of you guys become a lot more alike. So yeah,
Sure.
I believe that it's natural. It's natural. Yeah.
Okay. I
I
can
don't know.
dig that.
Mm.
What'd you
I
say,
don't
Ming?
know
What'd you say?
because LaFonda, what you just described is not so much you. We grow and we become these things, but that ain't what we naturally started out as. We all kind of, I mean, I won't say all, but um, yeah, we go through that whole thing of kind of seeing, what's out there, and it ain't necessarily that's the first instinct. Now, when we find something, and when we want to stay with it, maybe we may acclimate ourselves to their like. I don't know if it's natural for us, for men. I'll say that. I don't
It's
know. I think
supposed to
we
be.
can do it. We can do it.
Well,
It's very much possible, but I
yeah.
don't know if it's our first inclination. That makes
Well, if you
sense.
want to
It's
go
it,
spiritual on it, I would say that after the fall of man, after Adam and Eve both were corrupted, then monogamy became unnatural, I believe.
Well,
I think that after, if you're talking about is it in our nature now, um, if you from a biblical standpoint, I think after man was corrupted, no. But if you're speaking solely from like a scientific, biological, is it in our DNA type of structure? I don't know.
well,
I don't know.
for the sake of this conversation, for the sake of it, I'm not going to totally remove religion or biblical. I'm not going to totally remove it because I don't want to do that. But I want to dig into behavior and culture, but I want to dig into those two things just for the sake of the conversation, right? So I think based, and we're all going based on our knowledge, right? We only good as our knowledge and our understanding, right? So I
And
think
our experiences. Yep.
in our experiences, yes. So I think biologically, I'm not sure. I agree with B. I think B is the only person that told the truth here tonight so far. No, I'm just messing with you. No, but I'm just messing with you. No, I think that I'm just joking. So I think that biologically, I think based on my experience and witnessing people's behavior, I think biologically not so much for men, and I honestly think even for women. I think a lot of times for women, I don't think women are they don't move around as much so easily as far as from man to man so easily as a man does. I think men do separate sex and emotion easier than women. Obviously, I think
Mhm.
most people agree with
Yeah, I
that.
would agree with that.
But I think
Facts.
that
Yeah.
I think that monogamy, when you go throughout a lot of cultures, I'm not going to go biblically, but culturally, monogamy has not always been a thing around the world, but I think there was a time where, monogamy or polygamy, if you want to call that the opposite of monogamy, polygamy became part of the
Culture.
village. And, it wasn't what we do today. So it wasn't just about, when men hear polygamy in modern day, we think about, oh, I get to hit three different women and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's going to be cool. But traditionally, it was from my understanding, it was for, the village family. Maybe you had one man who had one or two, three wives who he could take care of and took care of all the kids. Now, in modern day, obviously, we know that's not happening. You may be a guy with a couple different baby mamas, but a lot of guys are not can't take care of all these people and don't intend to. It's not really the thing about having a village. So I say all that to say I think that we've changed in a way. We changed in a way into monogamy in America. European systems are more based on monogamy, supposedly. Um, I don't think monogamy is biologically natural. However, I do think that monogamy has been introduced to help a family structure, at least initially. But I'll say more, but I don't want to hog the microphone. So,
So I'm going based off of what we're
mhm,
supposed to be doing. We're
sure,
supposed to be monogamous, right?
sure,
But nowadays, like you guys said, it's not like that. But that's why you have okay, we're supposed to, because when you see people that are not monogamous, you see a lot of what do you call it, fornication, right? But what happens is that you see a lot of sexually transmitted diseases and
for sure,
things like that. And so that's why it should be natural. It is natural in a sense of, from a biblical standpoint, because that's the way that God created us. However,
sure,
the world today, things have changed based off of mankind, right?
sure,
um and so, yeah, we're supposed to be operating in the way that God designed us to operate, but because of, you know man, we began to, go in other directions and things like that, rather than following God's direction. And that's why you have like a lot of sexually transmitted disease. Because when you're married, you know who you guys are, right? You know
sure.
if you guys are
Oh yeah.
clean or whatever. So yeah, I'm going based off of how we should be. We should be monogamous. But
Okay.
like you guys said, today you have people that are out there that are
But is it human
going here.
nature though? I think you're speaking
Yes,
from a
it
moral
is.
standpoint.
And let's
I'm,
give DJ a warm welcome. What's up, DJ?
As everybody know, I don't even know if I can be heard. I think I can.
Yeah,
How's
yeah,
everybody?
we hear
we
you,
can
bro.
hear you.
What's
Yeah,
Okay,
happening,
we
bro?
can
cool.
hear you.
How you feel? I'm well.
Good.
How you doing, DJ? Who
Welcome
I'm
to the
well.
podcast.
introduce DJ? I don't think I've ever met DJ
Well,
before.
I never met DJ either.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I guess
Okay.
Leo ain't meet him.
Well, he is my coworker.
Okay.
We're both teachers, educators. So,
Okay.
Well,
All right.
welcome, welcome.
Welcome
We
to the pod, bro.
we we
Welcome.
just we
Welcome.
just hopping in, just jumping in, and absolutely. So B, go ahead, because absolutely, I understand, and I understand where you come from, LaFonda. Morally, there, I don't think anybody would disagree. I
Yeah.
want to get in. I want to get beyond the moral and get into the behavior, just for the sake of the combo. So the behavior. Go ahead, B. Where were
No,
you
that's
going?
that's what I was saying. I think LaFonda's speaking from a moral standpoint, which is one thing. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think that has to kind of be instilled in us. And I think
Right.
if we don't get that morality instilled in us, I think our natural inclination would not necessarily be towards monogamy. We learn that behavior, but I don't think it would be what we would do if left unchecked. You know what I mean? Like as humans, I think we would do whatever we could if there was no morals instilled into us. So I
Maybe
think,
for men.
Let's get
well, I
into
can only speak for men.
For men.
let's get into it. I don't want to cut you off, LaFonda. Let's get into. I want to get into where I want to kind of go with it is like the behavior. So monogamy, right? I think that most of us, when we're young, we practice monogamy if we tend, like BA said earlier, like if we tend to like somebody, like we kind of are open to different things, and then when we like somebody, okay, the agreement, the unspoken agreement or the spoken agreement is I like you, you like me. Okay, I'm no longer gonna be with anybody else from a certain sexual perspective or love perspective, and you're not gonna be either.
Real
And that's
quick,
kind of unspoken. Go ahead, B. Mhm.
real quick. But the
Yes, sir.
question is, why is that? We're taught that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like that's
I,
the
I agree with
dynamic that
that.
we learn.
Here's the thing, and I'm glad you said that because that's the whole point of this part of that combo is that I think that yes, it is something we're taught, but I think part of human nature is also when we meet someone, and again, I'm going outside of the moral, just human behavior. I think there's a certain level of human behavior that comes into play where it's like once you like somebody, you like, okay, you're mine. We human beings, we tend to put a claim on somebody when we like them or love them. And from there, most of the time, what I see or what I've seen in my lifetime is that you like somebody, like, okay, this is my woman or this is my man. You know what I'm saying? And then it's an unspoken agreement. Okay, we're not seeing anybody else. Even when you were in high school, people were like, okay, we go together. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
we
right.
go together now. It's unspoken. You don't assume that, okay, cool, we like each other, but I can still see whoever I want. Like typically that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So
Until it does,
until it does,
because
right?
people will end up cheating. That. So
And that's the whole thing about cheating, right? Because that's the whole where that word comes from. It comes from a place where it's like it's an unwritten understanding. Like we're together now. So
right.
if you go outside of that game, you're cheating. So it's almost like let me just say this, and I'll back off the mic. I wanted to say that what happens, I think there's an unwritten understanding that okay, if we together, I'm not seeing nobody else, you're not seeing nobody else, and I think a lot of times there's two reasons why people are monogamous. One, because they kind of want to, right? And then I think the other side of it is, there's always a fear. I think more for men, there's always a fear of the not retaliation, but the consequences of not being monogamous, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that men feel a little bit where it's like, okay, even if I do want to see some other women, I don't want you to see, I don't want you to see nobody else. You know what I mean? And I'm just talking from a
Yeah.
young perspective, but
Selfish.
yeah.
Yes.
Things don't
Yeah.
kind of mix in my brain. It's like for every other species, insects, they just produce. That's just what they do. And they're not necessarily saying, I want to produce with you. No, you have the opposite of what I have, so we produce. But we've put ourselves in these parameters. No, you have to be one person. And I'm not saying we're wrong in that. It's just these are all parameters that we've given ourselves. And I know we
Mhm.
didn't want to go into this religion thing, but and the weirdest part is I am a Christian. Like I identify as a Christian. That sounds so weird in this age, but as a black male, we are descendants from Africa and were not brought up on said Christianity. That's just something that was put on us, which I'm okay with because I've accepted that. But I don't know if necessarily our descendants
Mhm.
from Africa, if this was the rule that they practiced. Did they practice monogamy? I don't know. I wasn't
Mhm.
there. But, like when we talk about God and Adam and Eve, these are all the things the Europeans brought to Africa to teach us that now we carry and we run with the torch. And I'm okay with that because I do that to my children. I explain God to them, my children, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know we didn't believe in this. We believed that there was a higher power, but I don't know if it was necessarily Jesus and all that. So then do all of these
Mhm.
things that come with the Bible where I'm frozen.
Oh, okay. I see. I
Oh,
still see
Yeah,
you.
we
but it's
still
He's
fine.
not
see
Okay.
you.
It's fine.
Yeah.
frozen. We just
So
can't see
the,
him.
okay. But it's like, in that sense where, are we supposed to be all of these things that are in this Bible? I'm not saying that they're wrong and I'm not saying that they're not useful, but that's not my African heritage. And I'm not saying I'm going to go back and find out what our religion was, how many deities we had and all of that. But I just think all of that ties into when what we're talking about now, sex and monogamy, like were we supposed to be, in the Bible, if
Well,
we go ahead. I'm just,
no. I think that's a good question. I think, and that's why I said, I think that's always a good question. That's one of the things Shahrazad Ali, when she wrote her book, the Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, back in '89, I believe she wrote that book. That was one of the things when she was interviewing, she was talking about that. So I think that is always a conversation. But I think at the end of the day, we are in America, and we are what we are. To your point, you know, um, and we are in a society where people are trying to aim for monogamy, and I think monogamy, for the most part, is something that I think that people are aimed to. One, because I do think, outside of the moral standpoint, we like who we like, and a lot of times I think people don't want the person they like to be with other people, and I don't think people have the bandwidth a lot of times to actually, hey, what up, Vip?
Hey.
What's happening?
Hi, Vivian.
Hey.
Hi, everything.
People don't have the bandwidth. They don't really have the bandwidth, I think, to be with multiple people, although they might want to, right? So
I think that human beings, if you're talking about biologically, human beings are naturally territorial. So with that instinct, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with monogamy and not wanting your person to be with somebody else. It's just like when you buy a new car. It's like when you get something brand new, you don't really want anybody else to have it, or you don't want nobody else to touch it. That's my car. Don't touch it. Don't scratch it. Don't look at it.
Mhm.
Nothing. We as human beings are naturally territorial. So
yeah,
Sure.
of course, I think that when you feel like you have someone, you don't want anybody else. You don't want. I speaking from clearly just a woman's standpoint, you don't want nobody else looking at your man. You don't want no woman over there, all in his face or, sitting on his lap or trying to flirt with him
Mm-mm,
and getting his number. No,
mm-mm,
you
Right.
ready to snatch,
mm-mm,
you ready to start
mm-mm.
snatching tracks out when that happens. And men, I think that men are typically the same way. If that's your woman, you don't want another guy over there trying to holler at her and and trying to get in between what y'all got. So at that point, monogamy then becomes a choice as to, okay, am I going to be faithful to this person in order to preserve this relationship, or am I going to present the facade of monogamy in order to preserve this relationship? Because I'm
That's
gonna
why I said earlier we'll acclimate to it, but I don't know if it's necessarily in our nature, if it's natural. But we will
right,
live a monogamous lifestyle. So that,
right.
but
Mhm.
Or that person has just not
well,
made the
what
choice to be monogamous. They say, I want to keep up the facade of monogamy to try to keep this relationship up, but maybe they are giving in to their carnal desires, especially
I like
men,
how she said
especially men,
their
Mhm.
carnal desires.
because
I love
if
that.
because men are
oh,
easier have an easier time
Carnal
separating
desires.
emotion from sexual desire. He may be perfectly happy with his woman. He may think she's
Yeah.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. But his other member of the family is thinking for him and saying, man, she's pretty. Ooh, she got a big booty. Let me go see what's going on over here right quick and gone back home. So
Yeah.
is it natural? Probably not. But is it a choice? I think absolutely.
quick
Yeah.
question on your side: is anything freezing for you guys?
Nothing
Nothing.
for
No.
me.
Okay,
no,
cool.
I'm good.
Just want to make sure. Okay, so I this is good because this is the point. So I think that even when you have a great relationship, we speak to. I mean, as we're speaking to now, the need or the want for variety, and I think that that's where, when we really get down to it, the top reasons, if we talk about marriage, and this isn't about marriage per se, but marriage just for the sake of relationship, the top reasons for divorce are: infidelity is number one, right? Lack of commitment, right? And then
Uh-oh. You
Yeah,
Now,
it
now
froze.
you
sounds like
froze.
Yeah.
So I froze. Okay.
Yeah, you froze, but you're back
Yes.
now.
Can you repeat what you just said, please?
Okay. Let me repeat that. I think I might have froze on my side. So with marriage, one of the number one reason is lack of commitment, infidelity, and then number two is financial.
Can you
Those are
turn
the
your
two
mic up a
top
little bit,
reasons.
twin? I'm having a
Huh?
hard time hearing you.
Oh, you can't hear me now?
I mean, I can hear you, but you sound kind of low again.
Okay, my fault. I was saying that with marriage, the number one reason is infidelity. That's the first reason. And then the second reason is financial, right? That's the two top reasons. So, you have a lot of people like a couple of years ago, obviously, with Will Smith. To me, that was a great example of we do have a lot of people in society who are trying to practice maybe open relationships. If both parties can deal with sharing their partner, it works. But I think most of the time the problem is it doesn't work. One person may be cool with it, and then it causes a lot of trauma. And that's why you ended up having Will Smith slap Chris Rock. He really wanted to slap his wife. I think that's what it was, what he really wanted to do. But that stuff will fester inside of you. But I think for men, what happens is that, and you know what? I ain't going to blame Jada. I don't know what's going on in their relationship, but I think for men, we may be open to variety, but we may not be able to take the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a
Hmm.
different thing. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So,
Yep.
That is
The whole
true.
world would be sick too. Everybody would have a disease
well, you know what?
That is
if
very
everybody decided to just
That's
go
very
off
that's a very
and
jeez.
optimistic. That's a very cheerful view of things.
Yeah, that's very
No,
optimistic
but
of you, LaFonda. That's
that is a good point. There's a lot of STDs out there for real though. There's a tons of STDs, and a lot of people out there burning. You know what I'm saying? But um,
I ain't heard that in a long time.
burning.
burning.
But
I
I
know
mean,
that's
Oh
from
I
the
my
'90s.
God.
mean,
just
I
think
So
guess
about it. Like seriously, everybody would be
no.
sick.
I mean, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I think it's. I guess at this point, it's like, is monogamy the best decision? I mean, I'm always going to go with yes. I mean, I guess if we're going to just talk about human nature again,
mhm.
human beings are naturally territorial and naturally social creatures for the most part. We have a desire, an innate desire to connect with others. Those that don't are more anomalies. They're more exceptions. They're not the rule. And so when you start to make an emotional connection with somebody, you don't want to share that, especially from a woman's standpoint. You
That's
don't want to share that with somebody else. And when
The
you're
emotional connection. Right. I got you.
right, when
Mhm.
you but that, for at least for many women, that translate into a sexual connection. Like if I am now, my heart is involved because my mind is involved. At least speaking just for myself, my mind is involved, so now my heart is involved. And when those two things are connected, now my body is involved. And with giving all of that to this person, hell no, you don't want to share that with anybody else. And
Absolutely.
especially going back to dating over 40, if you're going to make a mature and informed decision, I mean, granted that you can have a mature and informed conversation with your potential partner that says, hey, look, we're going to do this thing together. It's just going to be me and you. And let's talk about it. Let's have that understanding that we are in this singular relationship. And if you stray outside of that relationship, that is a deal breaker for me.
hmm,
And the relationship thus will end. That,
That's the
speaking for
communication thing.
myself, right? Not for all women, but I feel like a lot of women can relate to that and will feel that way when you
absolutely,
don't want to
Right.
share with that. I
absolutely,
guess it become, once
But
that's
but
something that's ingrained in your
does
mind, then it does
does a
become
single act of infidelity mean we break up our union? Like is
that
that the
depends
end of the
on the
Look at
woman.
marriage?
Gina's face.
That depends on the
That
people
depends on the
involved.
woman. For me
Hmm.
personally, infidelity is a deal breaker. If
So
Hmm.
you
we
think
have
you better
made
than
this
Beyonce?
commitment, huh?
You think you better than Beyonce? I'm just asking. No, I'm just,
But see, if we're
I
going
she's
there,
better than me
Wait, what does
at
that
we're going
mean?
pulling
there.
women
Wait,
out
I'm
there.
That's
sorry. This just
I'm
beyond
flew over
saying
my
mistakes.
head. What
That's
does that
beyond
mean?
mistakes,
Like, what
though.
does that
Look
mean?
at it.
Cause he
It's
Look
because
at
because
it.
Jay
Jay
Z
Z
cheated on
cheated on
her,
her.
and
yeah,
Jay Z
yeah.
cheated on Beyonce, and
They
she
got
stayed with
divorced.
him.
But that's
You,
her choice to
That's
stay.
her choice.
yeah,
That's their
but
relationship. Is
but I
between whoever
guarantee
is
you,
in
once
that relationship.
if she decides to get emotionally checked out, that relationship is over.
Also true. Also true.
Well,
You
But
know,
Hmm.
go
go
ahead,
ahead, sir.
B. Mhm. Oh no, I was going to say that's such a good point because
Mhm.
that actually is one of the number one reasons why women cheat is the from my
That's
research
true.
that
yeah,
it's emotional for women.
It's
It's
emotional.
Yeah.
it's usually
We
not
are
it's usually not
emotional
Yeah.
just the
beings.
sex.
hmm
But
You know what
y'all
I'm
will
saying?
emotionally check out before y'all ever tell us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
see
yeah.
what
Cause
I'm
we
saying?
trying to
Like
see if
that's
I'm
a
you
gonna
we
disagree
trying to
with
see if
that.
you gonna,
I'm
Change.
gonna
go back
disagree
to
with
how
no,
that.
you
you
checked out. You
was.
checked out. You should
Yeah.
probably let us know. Like ain't
I'm,
no
I'm gonna disagree with that.
They
And
don't they
I'm
don't
because
they
going.
don't do it like that, B. They don't
what
tell
I'm.
you.
I know they don't. I know that. What I'm saying is to Fonda's point. You're trying. What are you trying to see? If you're already out
Oh
of it,
no.
you clicked it out of your head. You're done with it. Then why not just be done with it? Why sit around and like what are you waiting for him to do? Because you're not coming back. You're already gone mentally.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, I got
Most of
kicked.
the
I
time,
guess
he's
I got
trying to
kicked
win you
out.
back, though. So that's why
yeah.
women stay and stick around. Is because you guys try and right your wrongs, but it's too late to right your wrongs, and she's already emotionally checked out. So therefore, you are doing what you're trying to do to win her back, and she's already planning her next move because she playing chess and you play checkers.
Hmm.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Okay, I'll
And
accept that.
one of the things I saw too. So with women when they cheat, right? So because women are cheating too. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
the numbers as far as like marriage. I mean, they're not far behind men in many
Mm-hmm.
cases as far as the number of women cheating or percentage.
Women cheat more than
In
Mm-hmm.
men.
some cases,
No,
they
they
say
don't.
Y'all just would never
I
know
don't
how
know if
many
I
times
agree with
y'all
that
got
one.
cheated on.
No, no. See, here's the
Oh,
thing.
I
well,
had a
we can
lot of
argue about.
Real
I don't
quick,
think I
real
agree with
quick.
that one.
Please. Mhm.
I a lot of times men get a bad rap. Like y'all, if you go online, social media, right, and you'll see all these people about how there's married men in their inbox, and the married men are doing this. Do y'all know how many married women slide in inboxes? It's a thing. It
absolutely.
happens. Men don't talk about it, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
but the bad when you look at the way the perception is, it's like married men are horrible. Nah, women are they out there.
Oh yeah,
Even
yeah, I
they're
men
mean,
in
definitely.
see,
relationships.
I
That's
agree that
true.
they out there, but I guess for me personally, speaking only for myself, I guess I would consider myself an anomaly because I'm a loyalist. I have never cheated. I am not that type. If I'm if I'm emotionally connected to you, I'm not able to connect with anybody else. I am emotionally
Do you
invested.
trust people right
Huh?
away? If you start talking to someone, how long does it take for you to trust them?
Well, now, it's gonna take.
Just
In
say in
general, I,
general.
I
In
can't really
general.
put a
So
time
like if
frame
you
on it.
meet somebody and they check all of your boxes, like and they're doing everything,
Um,
like
it's gonna take some time for me at this point in my life. It's gonna take some time. It's
months.
it's gonna take some months. So I'm always watching what you're doing. I'm a trust but verify at this point, and I'm looking at what you're doing, not what you're saying, because your
Hmm.
Right.
actions and 9 times out of 10, what you don't say is gonna give you away. You know,
Hmm.
it's
Absolutely.
I guess because
You've been through
I'm
a
a
lot.
I'm a very psychological person. You know, I'm a mental health counselor, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at what people do, and a lot of times it's all
Hmm.
these unwritten things, these little nuances that give a person away that they don't even know that I'm reading. Somebody asked me a question one time, and they're like, I asked the person a question. They're like, "Well, how did you know? Did I say something or did I do something?" I was like, "No, it was actually just your reaction to something that seemed unrelated that gave you away," and they were completely blown away by it. And I was like, I just, I can just, I
Well,
anyways,
let's
would not to get
let's
too far
let's
off
go to that
topic,
point
but
though. No, let's go to that point because what you just said, Viv, is a good question. I want to ask everybody. So, because one of the topics we were also going to talk about is it better to wait to have sex with somebody when you first meet them, you know what I'm saying, and have this relationship? So,
I think I'm
there, I'll
frozen.
say this. There's always the PC
I think
or
I'm
the
frozen.
ideal, but interestingly enough, I've had relationships where, it was immediate sexual, contact, and then it still could be a relationship. So I don't know personally if waiting per se.
So what's immediate? Like first day,
Oh
second
yeah,
day,
like
1 week?
within like the first week of meeting them, early
Okay.
early in the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, and that's happened.
No,
You
and
know,
that's most a lot of men, not most men,
you
but a
know what?
lot of
Listen,
men.
honestly, I think it's most women too. I mean, I think more than women would want to admit. I think there's a lot of women who had sex with their relationship they got into early. May have been within the first week. They may not want to talk about it, but I think that a lot of times, people get it, and I'm not judging it. I don't think it necessarily determines the
Right.
quality of your relationship, but I guess
Right.
also too as you go on, and you mature more, do y'all think it's better to wait or does it even matter?
So was you intellectually like compatible with that person, or you just like it was just like sex, and then y'all got
To be
together?
honest with you, yeah, I mean, I would say for any other relationships, it wasn't like a straight up like, we just gonna link up and smash type of thing. But at the same time,
Okay.
if you don't really know somebody, you really don't know what it's going to turn into. So you don't really know if, and this isn't a thing for men. Men honestly don't really care in that
Y'all don't
perspective.
care.
We're not like, oh my God, if I sleep with her too early, this may go wrong. It's not something we really care about. You know what I'm
Yeah.
Y'all don't
saying?
care.
But
It's not
but I think
emotional.
yeah, it's not that serious.
Mhm.
But I do think that is something obviously that women do think about. So I guess the question is, do you think is waiting? Who wrote the book? Steve Harvey wrote the book Think Like a Man. He's telling women to wait 3 months
Never
or
read it.
6 months
Watched the
to
movie.
to, to sleep with someone. And I think all that's cool in context. So I just want to know what everybody thinks.
Well, I will say this. Growing up, I always felt like in any relationship, oh my gosh, I have to wait because of what you just said. Oh, he's gonna look at me some kind of a way, Oh, I'm gonna be like a hoe. I'm gonna feel like a hoe, or something like that because I slept with him right away. But as I got older, and yes, realizing that some men don't look at it like that, I've been in that situation where, like you said, like within a week or so, like the chemistry was just there and it happened and then we were together for years, so that can happen. So I'm open to it at this age. You know what I mean? Like I'm way more open to it than when I was younger. I will say that because I was just
What do you look for when you know that that's the right person to actually go all the way with?
uh I mean, it was with that particular situation. We talked. I will say we did talk. It wasn't just like we met up and that just happened.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I
But
get it.
we,
No, I
we talked for a few
understand.
weeks. I loved his personality. I love the things he was saying. We had a lot of things in common. He's very attractive,
Hmm.
and so I was like, okay, and then when we met, it was all. You know how sometimes when you meet a person in person, and it's like, oh no, this wasn't what I felt. You know what I
Right.
mean? But everything was still there, and then it just happened. And then, like said, like we were together for several years after that. So I mean, it
Which
happens,
can
and
happen.
so I'm just open to it at this
Which
age,
can happen.
personally.
I was gonna say, like for me, and I'm a different kind of guy.
Mhm.
I think it's all. I think ideally, yes, you would like to wait, but it's almost
Mhm.
better, because for men, because generally we're visual creatures, so we're always going to look sexually at a female. If you are attractive to us, that's what attracts us, and then we can look at other things that we value. But for men, once we are attracted to someone, the natural inclination is, oh, I wonder what she would be like if we were together. So
Mhm.
it's almost better to just go ahead and, I mean, I'm being facetious, but just go ahead and just do it and get it out the way. Then in your brain, that part is just gone. and you can actually have a relationship because because a man is going to behave to get what he wants. So if he already gets it,
Mhm.
all right, that part, it's like a stress relief. Well, for men,
Yeah.
it's supposed to relieve stress anyway. But at,
Or he might decide he's not. Well, I already got it, so why
but see,
why
I
stick
mean,
around?
there is that
Why
piece
why
too.
do
Mhm.
it?
But
Well,
I
that's
mean,
true.
it's one
Yeah.
of those things where I don't know. That's just kind of.
It seems like most men seem to behave that way more than anything else. It's like they're so they're so sex driven
I
and they're
think it
so
depends
I think it's the
on the
they're
Yeah,
so
situation,
I don't
though.
think
society is
so.
how you were
I,
raised.
I think I think DJ hitting a point on the head. I don't think that I don't know. And again, we all speaking from our perspective, right? So I don't think men are like, yo, I'm gonna hit it and then I'm gonna bounce. I don't think that's
A lot of
huh?
them
Would you say,
do.
Viv?
A lot of them do.
You know what?
I've had a lot of friends, so I'm very versed on
I,
this subject. And a lot of guys, they act like they want the females. They get it within a couple days, and then they done.
like their
They
behavior
out, and
starts to
then now they
change
Yeah,
shame them.
that's
after they
true.
got
They
now
shame them.
first
So I've
you're,
seen that
they're because men can be really sneaky and really sly and
very
maybe they have good intentions from the very beginning and maybe they don't, so they'll play the
minimum amount.
role like, oh, they're really interested in you, they're saying all the right things, they're doing all the right things, they're building that trust and that rapport with you
Hmm.
in order to,
Mm-hmm.
satisfy that sexual desire. Once it's been satisfied, now they're like, I'm not, I already got it. So why am I putting this effort in
Mm.
to you? I
How
might as well go
long?
on to the next one.
How
That's
long
true.
are we making these men wait before giving them what they want?
That's my point.
Like, are we?
That
It could be,
How
it
are
could
we
be,
vetting
it could
these
be,
men?
it could be 2 weeks. It could be a month. It could be a
I've
week.
never. It's more than a month. I think nobody has ever gotten me within 1 month. I'm just gonna be very honest. You have to work to get me because if I give you something and I'm not getting nothing in the return, what am I giving you something
jeez,
for? You
Vivian,
have to work
you are
hard.
approved.
I'm
yeah.
One
being
month?
I
serious.
mean,
What
and
approved?
I told. Go ahead.
Said, no, no, I said no. You would never get
I
it
know.
within one
I
month.
say
That's
you're
what I said.
approved. 1 month is it's a
Oh,
long time.
absolutely,
No, I'm
absolutely.
just
Because why am I going to give you what you want? And I need to understand you and your characteristics. If I just turn around and be like, okay, it's a week, I really like him, and then do it, like, what do you have? What's going to motivate you to continue to want to talk to me?
Maybe
What's
I
going to
like you.
motivate you to
I mean,
continue
and
to
Maybe
that's
right.
maybe
it.
I
me?
like, because here's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
I've been in those situations too, and I've done the waiting and I've done the immediate, and
Hmm.
I'm still cool with people that it was the immediate, and some of the people I waited for, no, I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? It's once it's the person.
Exactly. So why waste my time? I don't want my body count up very high just because I'm having a weak moment. I have enough mind strength to not have weak moments. And so therefore, if you want me and if this is what you're and I don't even want married. So I'm not like most women. I don't want to get married. However, if I'm in a relationship, if I'm with somebody, you're going to work to get to know me and we're going to be able to have conversations. If you can't have an intelligent conversation with me, we can't
yeah.
gel. So it's like I have to be able to vet
And to
you.
be fair,
And for me to
there
vet
are
you,
men who will
to
play
get
the
to
long
know you.
game. They'll wait it out, however long it takes.
That's true.
They'll say
Right.
whatever you want to hear. They'll say it until you. So you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
hate agreeing
Right.
with you, Vivian. Um,
You
but
know,
you're right. There are men who will play the long game, and they'll whatever it takes. They'll say what they got to say until they get what they want, and then your point, yeah, point, to they'll switch it up. So that happens.
Yeah.
But
It happens,
but
absolutely. But the longer that they are vested in you, that's how you'll see if they're for you or if they're not for you.
agreed.
And it's a lot of people that I've had that waited and then we not gelling. My body count is not that high. So everybody doesn't get a taste of this. So just because we've been talking for this long, this amount of time, and if I feel like the conversations that we have is pointless, I know that you're not for me. Now I might just sit around and still we can still talk or whatever, be friends, but that's as far as it's going to go because I'm not going to waste my time dealing with somebody. Again, if you can't have an intelligent conversation with me, I can't deal with you.
Yeah.
Fair.
well,
Yeah.
let's talk about for a minute. Let's talk about the female the female straying away, right? So because a lot of times we act like it ain't a thing, and I'm talking about older women and or younger women, right? So I know for sure, like, women in their teens and 20s. I would say let's talk about teens. Teens should be waiting as long as they can. This is a family show.
Absolutely.
But for
A lot of them don't,
for
but they
but,
should.
but for the younger women in their 20s, let's talk about women in their 20s. One of the things, of course, women are emotional, but I think what's interesting about women are always emotionally tied to sex, no doubt. Everybody would agree with that. But women who are younger too also have a need for variety, right? Or a want for variety. So, you have this conversation. Some women, I'm not talking about y'all. Some people talk about they want to go through their whole phase, right? This is
Mhm.
popular amongst the younger women now. But I think that regardless of that term, definitely in the 20s,
Mhm.
there's always a time where women, just as much as men, do desire some level of variety or just to have experiences, quote unquote, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I think that, again, I'm not knocking it.
I've had variety my whole
What do you say?
life. I've had variety my whole life. It's just we haven't been on the intimate level,
Well,
so
okay,
that's true.
but what I'm saying is that there are women who definitely cheat because we're talking about monogamy here. So there are women who cheat strictly for variety at times. I would say those are mainly younger women, right? But as people move on and they become more mature, I think monogamy is more about, again, I don't believe it's our natural instinct, but I think monogamy is more of an agreement. It's a choice. I think it's a trade-off. I think monogamy is more
Mature.
about the trade-off of what you give up to get in return. Because
But I also think that it goes hand in hand with when you think about monogamy. Monogamy and cheating don't always go hand in hand because monogamy is just a choice to be sexually intimate with one person. You don't
right,
have to be in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship to be monogamous. You know what I mean? You could just have an agreement to be or make you have made a decision within yourself that I'm just going to sleep with this one person at a time. Regardless of what you're saying to this other person, because you might not be in a relationship with that person. Y'all just might be doing it, and that's just what y'all do. It's not y'all not in a relationship. You just have a situation. This is what you're doing. So if he
Mhm.
decides to go be with somebody else,
you, well,
or
you're
you
headed
decide
in
to
you're
go
headed
be
into
with
reckless
somebody else,
territory here.
I'm just I'm
You're
just
head,
saying there's people that
but
do that.
let me let
They're
me say
they're
let me say this, and I ain't gonna hog the mic. You're heading into reckless territory because if you're doing
what
that,
are you talking
if
about?
you if you're doing that, then the guy is definitely sleeping with other people. If
Yeah,
you if you
yeah,
Probably,
you may say in
probably.
your head,
I'm
I'm
just
only
I'm just saying. I'm
yeah.
just talking
So
in
here's the problem with
general.
that. Here's the problem with that.
I'm just talking. Wait,
You
hold on.
in
I'm
your
just talking in
head,
general, B. In general,
but that general
monogamy
right?
is it
So
is
I'm
an
gonna let
agreement.
me speak in
yeah.
general. So
Okay.
woman, and I'm gonna say women because men don't think like that at all. But a woman will say, "Hey, I'm only dealing with this guy. It's not a relationship. We didn't have a conversation. It's not a commitment. But I'm only going to give it to him, right? Right. Well, he don't understand that, so he's doing whatever he do because there has never been a conversation that this is going
Right.
to be just us. And
Right.
so
Reckless
emotionally, when she
territory.
finds out that he is doing whatever he's doing, then now it's a whole different fight. Now you got to because you
Not
made an emotional
necessarily,
connection that he didn't make.
because if you're not in a relationship with this person, and I guess as a woman,
So you're
you have
talking
to
about
you have to
monogamy. You're
get
talking
your
about one way
expectations
monogamy, twin. So
right. Well,
Hmm
that's
one
what I'm
way
saying.
monogamy. That's
Mhm.
not what we're talking about here. Because
Mm,
one way monogamy doesn't mean anything. Like you could say whatever you want to yourself, but if you're not in a monogamous relationship with the other person, that's what I'm talking about.
You're gonna
Monogamy
be
is
breaking
more,
your
and I
own
feel what
heart
you're
by doing that.
saying,
Honestly,
but
you're
monogamy is an
breaking your own
agreement.
heart.
It's an agreement.
that's not
You know,
something I do. But I'm just saying
There's
that
people out
there's
there that
people
do.
who
Yeah.
that do
Mhm.
that. That if you may not be in a relationship, so you feel like, well, it's fair game to go and be with whoever else you want to be with because hey, we're not in a committed relationship. And I feel like men especially, are the ones that do that. Hey, I never made any kind of commitment to you. I never said that you were my
Well,
girlfriend.
that's the
So
whole
if I'm
point.
out here sleeping around with multiple
That's
women,
And there's
you
nothing
can't
that's
say
there's nothing
nothing
wrong
to
with
that's
that.
me.
literally the point.
There's
That's
something
literally the
wrong with
point right
that.
there. So if you're a woman and you see if you're a woman and you're seeing a guy and you're like, I'm only gonna be with this guy, but you don't have an agreement, then and and if the man decided, okay, I'm only gonna be with you, then you got a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
And,
you
and and if he don't make that decision, then you can't be mad at him when you find out he isn't on that same page. Like
yeah,
Well,
that's
that, I
devious
mean, right?
territory.
No, you can't. You
not.
can't.
So I'm not
You
saying
know?
you in particular. I'm just saying
No,
in
no.
general, because
Right.
that's what would happen. And a lot of times, some women will get the emotions tied into it
Mm-hmm.
without even letting him know that they have that. And so when they
Mm-hmm.
see him out somewhere doing whatever he's doing, and it's the reaction, and that's not,
Right.
what I mean. So he's wondering what
Well,
the hell just happened, and in your
right.
head, he's out here doing whatever because
Now,
she made a connection that he don't even know about.
that's true. Now,
Now,
I think
Conversation
that
has to be
applies
had.
primarily to youngers.
no,
People in our age group, the
no,
40 plus,
no. I'm gonna tell you
if you're
why.
mature, you're having a
I,
conversation
I'll
about it.
tell you why.
That's what I'm saying.
Ain't nothing unclear.
I'll tell you
It's
why.
it's
It's
some
Right.
If you
40 plus.
let me
The
grown.
older they are, until they get emotionally and mentally prepared for monogamy, then they're not ready. And it don't matter, even if they say they are. 9 times out of 10, a lot of people just don't really mean what they
Yep.
say.
That's true.
Yep.
And you think that you in this one-sided relationship where it's just you and him, but then it's really somebody else. When you actually, I just had this conversation today. It's funny because somebody that's been with somebody for a while and now they think that he's stepping out, and they're very, very, very close, and she's worried because she had, when you have that woman intuition, something is going wrong, because when people are doing the same thing, like you say, consistency. When you have a certain relationship and everything is consistent, and y'all have this day, so y'all do this and y'all do that, and then all of a sudden things change, something is happening. So again, it's about the communication, and is he willing always to be
Mm-hmm.
consistent? And most guys, they
Mm-mm.
just not always consistent. Even women. I know I'm not. I've been not consistent, and I've cheated. So I'm just gonna be honest and say that when guys do certain things, then I emotionally unattach myself. So it's all about consistent basis, and a lot of times women emotionally attach themselves to guys that's not even ready
Mm-hmm.
for that, but they'll say anything because they just want to
Yep.
keep getting it. So yeah, I love you, yeah, we together, but they
Right.
don't mean that.
Right.
You'll see them outside in the club and they in other women's face doing out like what you said, and then you get mad because you put your heart into that, and that's not what he was on.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
I agree with that, and I think statistically, men do cheat more, but there's a couple of things. So, for instance, women.
Men caught more.
Well, that's true
I still
too. No,
think
that's
it's
true
more.
too. But
I think we do it more. I think.
but I think men still do it more statistically from the statistics. I think that women uh, cheat for different reasons. Obviously, there's a lot of revenge cheating. Like, men don't cheat out of revenge. Like, and I'm saying this because when you look at the emotions. So if you've been cheated on before, men don't usually be like they're
Most
they're not
men
like,
really.
oh, okay, I'm gonna go cheat for revenge. Like, it ain't even
Yeah.
enjoyable to go cheat for revenge. You need to get over whatever you feel. You know what I'm saying? You might see another woman, you know what I'm saying, because you feel like you're free now, but you're gonna have to get over that ego blow that you feel to even enjoy. But women calculate a little bit differently as far as how they cheat. So they will cheat for revenge. And that revenge might be 2-3 years from whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the calculation for a woman is a lot different. You know what I'm saying? But in addition to that, you were talking about earlier, I think you twin and Vivian, you also talked about maturity and stuff like that. So if y'all remember the site Ashley Madison, right? Remember the site Ashley Madison?
Mm-hmm.
So they had a whole documentary on Ashley Madison, a site strictly for married people
People who
to
want
link
to.
up with other people. And
Mm-hmm.
the customer base. This is a huge site. They're making a lot of bread.
Hmm.
The customer base, and the only
Wait,
reason why
I'm
they shut
sorry.
down
I'm
is because they
sorry.
had a
I never heard of this site. So this is a site for marriage couples, and they're linking up with other people.
They're not. No, they're not couples. It's just a
Right.
site
no,
that
they're
if
not
It's
you are
couples.
People who
married.
are
married
married
people
who
who
want to
want to
cheat.
cheat
Oh
Find
my
with
somebody
other.
to cheat.
Yeah, so they're
god.
cheating with other married people.
Yeah, AshleyMadison.com. It was a site for married people
Don't
who
have a
wanted
heart
to cheat.
attack,
Right,
LaFonda.
LaFont.
It's gonna be all right.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's where the
It's gonna
world
be all
is,
right.
LaFonda. Yeah,
That's where the world
yeah.
It's
is. I
gonna be
know.
okay.
Very
Ooh,
popular
take
site.
Gotta
Girl,
gotta
let me
deal
So
with it.
let me
they
get the
actually
church fan out.
have
Let me get the church
But
It's not
fan
even
out.
that.
It's
have
That
all
I
right.
want to
parties
be
out
married,
here
so
with
I'm
married
like, I'm
couples.
listening to all this, and I'm like, okay, what is out
well,
there?
just for don't even worry about it because Ashley
Okay,
Madison is
good.
shut down. If that make you feel better, but they had a
It
huge.
was
But they
probably
still
replaced
have a
by
lot of
something.
swinger parties that people don't know about, where couples go and they swing at parties, and they have a mutual agreement that we're gonna go, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go back home, and then we're gonna be
Mhm.
good. So it happens a lot still
Yeah,
without
I'm
that's
see.
that.
I'm
called
glad you said that,
the
Viv,
whole
because that's my
lifestyle,
point. So
quote unquote, the
there.
lifestyle.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, G.
No, I was just agreeing with her. Like that is so like out there today. It and what it's called is like being in the quote unquote the lifestyle. So, you go
Yep,
to these swinger
lifestyle
parties, these
parties.
lifestyle parties, and that yes, that's the agreement. Like we do whatever and we're good with it and we come back home and there's
But
no
see, this is
problem.
the struggle. This is the struggle that I think men. When I say men and women are going through, right? Because this isn't nothing new. So Ashley Madison is an example, right? So this
Yeah.
site, it was an example because it was a site that was very huge and
Hmm.
served a huge customer base. So
Yeah.
this company only shut down because they had a huge data breach. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people, there were like senators on there and Congress people. So what happened is that when you sign up for the site, you would have an alias. You'd have your, whatever alias you signed up on. Nobody used their real name. So this hacker site, from a moral perspective, they wanted to shut it down because they thought that, to your point, LaFana, they thought that this is wrong. God doesn't like it. So there was a hacker group that went ahead and hacked this site, but were they put a not a ransom, but I think they put up a ransom for Ashley Madison to shut down. They didn't want bread. They didn't want money. They said, if you don't shut this site down, we're going to release everybody's name, real name in the profiles, right? So Ashley Madison, you can watch it on Netflix. They had a whole special on it. And Ashley Madison was like, the owners, they were making a lot of money. So they were like, well, they were calling the hackers bluff, like, yo, they're not gonna do nothing, we ain't gonna shut it down. And they didn't shut it down, and the hackers released all of these names.
Hmm.
So it ended up blowing up, because like I said, they were, important people who had been on it. But point being is that,
Hacking websites in the name of morality is crazy to me. That's insane.
but yo, listen, you have people who are out there like, yo, we don't like this site, we don't want money, we
It
gonna
might be
shut it
somebody
down.
that's been cheated
So,
on. Somebody, family member or a husband or wife or
Hmm.
somebody that
Imagine
really
that
ain't
I find
with
out my
what they
husband is on.
doing.
Oh my
So
god! Like,
but you know what? You're right.
I'm
It,
sure
it could
people
have
get
been that
murdered.
too.
Right.
And
Cheating is
so
one of the number one reasons why people get killed.
that
Too.
too.
you
That's
said
So
one of the
why we
so
get
oldest
killed? You
oldest
so
said.
long
motives in the
story
book.
long story short with this.
Yes, it's one of the oldest motives in the book.
So long story short with the site. So my point is that this site served a lot of people. They made a lot of money. Their customer base was, I believe, 65-35 women. So there were a huge base of women also who were looking to have affairs outside of their marriage. And these were not about, I'm mad or I want to revenge cheat or whatever. These
Hmm.
were strictly like, I need to set up something discreet because I want to have other experiences. And they interviewed a lot of women who were part of the site. And these were grown people, professional
Hmm.
jobs,
Hmm.
kids, 35, 45, whatever,
Hmm.
adult people like us who say, I want something discreet outside of my marriage that, no, that as long as nobody knows, I can have this thing. So to your point, Viv, and even LaFonda and G, yes, there is a lifestyle that is out there that I think that, you know, there are some people who struggle with monogamy, and if they can find a situation that's discreet, something that their partners are okay with, you have another other lifestyle out there. So it's
Yeah.
interesting,
I,
you
I
know.
yeah, There's a lot of people also that's out there that, especially women. I'm just saying because their husbands are not as performance based as they used to
Performance
be.
based.
So
That's an
Well,
interesting way to put it.
try to
well,
be politically
I
correct.
Well,
mean,
So,
that's what
so they,
Performance based.
you
Okay.
know, you
they have
used to do it
medication
like
for
two or
that.
three times a
They
day.
have all kind
Then
of
it goes
things.
to once a week. Then it's like once a month. So women. When we get older, our sex drive it heightens. Men sometimes they sex drive because they on blood pressure pills or whatever happens.
it's
That
not funny, but
I'm just
Yeah,
keeping it
you
real.
right.
That's the
Blood
blood
pressure
pressure.
pills is not
You right.
but
Some of y'all,
their performance is not
yeah,
what they
because their
used to be. Like
testosterone
they
level goes down and
absolutely,
things
Okay.
don't
absolutely.
work the way they're
So
supposed to work.
women want to get it and they can't get it from their husband. So that's another reason. It's like he can't get it up
Well,
no more. And
no, you know what though? You know what
she
though? I'm
Fact.
glad. I'm glad you said that because, and DJ, I know you wanted to hop in with some too. I'm glad you said that though, Viv, because that's honest and true in some cases where that speaks to women because women always act like, oh, it's emotional and it's just we never do, and I think that yeah, that's true, but there's all
well
huh?
then he
frustration.
better do
I'm
something
sorry.
else.
I said it's
He said
frustration.
frustration.
He better do
Yeah,
something else.
Women
Like,
have sexual frustration.
there, but there's women who
I'm
also
sorry,
decide
guys. That wasn't
that
nice.
physically
That
physically
wasn't appropriate.
no,
Fonda,
listen.
No, Fonda, you
don't
good.
curse. You look like you about to explode over there.
I know.
Look like your
You
head
good
about to
over there,
pop
Fonda?
clean off your shoulders. It's gonna be all right. You said do something else. I mean,
Yo,
I don't know. Do you agree with that biblically?
But
So what else
still,
can he do
No,
if he can't
she's
get it
talking about the
up?
woman that
Women.
she
no, he
better do
better do
something else
something
if her
else. If he
husband can't get it
can't,
up.
he
Yep,
Oh, he better figure it
that's
out.
what
better
she doing. She's doing something
he better
else.
as a
Nah,
woman,
she's saying
as a
do
What
it
woman,
to
you
get
she
some
supposed to
better
do?
pills
just
or
she
something.
better just lay there.
Oh,
I
Right.
know,
okay. Lay there.
but if he can't get it up, if it ain't
If it
Lay
ain't
working,
there and
working, what he
what he
gonna
receive.
do
gonna
by
do?
laying there? Lay there
She's
and
That,
receive
saying that
what?
man need to be
but
using
that's
his
what I'm
tongue. That's
trying
what
to
she's
figure
saying.
out.
you know what?
I got you, Fonda. I
Oh,
got you.
okay.
That is
Oh, I
always
see. I
a
Yeah,
She's
see.
see,
talking
So
about tongue.
he
mystery.
Yes,
better
it's
do
still
some.
It
it's
went
still
over
Okay,
my head
biblical.
for a minute
Yeah,
too.
got you.
because we still,
I went over
Okay,
my head for a
okay.
minute too.
That's
Well,
Thanks,
not
Fonda.
always
I
I
got
mean,
you,
you might
Fonda.
get
I'll
tired
be
of
your
that after a
translator,
thank
while.
Fonda.
you,
I got
thank
you.
you. Be
Now
right.
I want to ask a
You might
question.
get
I
tired
want
of
to
that
ask a
after a
question,
while,
but
though.
let
You might fall.
DJ. What were
You
you going to say,
might,
brother? I'm going to ask a question after you done.
I was just kind of going back. It might not even fit in where we went because we went somewhere. But I was just gonna say it all kind of ties back to like just like generational curses. Like forever, we have been taught to get as many women as we can, and women have been taught to keep it tight, don't give it away. So these are two dichotomy
Hmm.
of opposing views. So a man is always trying to go forward, women are always trying to hold back, and they never meet up. And if we want this to change, we have to change the cycle. And we won't change the cycle now because social media has just taking it over. So we're just going to keep these wheels spinning. But that's just kind of where I see it. It's just like men have always been taught that this is how you need to do it. And then when you get it all out, you can settle down. And now you're in your 40s, and now you're kind of saying, you know what, I did everything I want to do. Now let me kind of unilaterally,
That
let me kind of focus here.
That's a
But
great
who
point.
taught
but
men
wait,
that?
Yeah,
Like,
that
This
I think that's
who
great.
put that in your head
it's
though?
your father, your
Like, where did you
grandfather,
get
your
that
uncle, your
mindset?
cousin. It is every
Your
It's
friends?
society.
It's society. It
Hmm?
is every man in your
Wait,
relationship. Like I learned all of this stuff from my friends.
But the
Not
funny thing is all of the rap lyrics and stuff that y'all been listening to, a lot of
I
them
never
like
paid
boys.
attention.
nah,
I mean I listened to rap for what it was. I
you
was
wildin'.
never. It's just
Just
it was
being
all
You
honest.
my
wildin'.
friends.
So they telling y'all to go out here and calling women all out their name, but then they out here they
Nah,
liking
yeah,
boys
that's
and
a whole
stuff.
nother
Yeah,
show.
So
Yeah,
That's
you
a
we
whole
going
going
up
nother
in
somewhere
show.
smoke.
else.
that's
That's
But
I'm sorry.
the young no, but we could definitely do a show on that alone for sure. But the women, but wait on, hold up. The women. I'm not talking about our generation now. I'm talking about Meg The Stallion and all them. They moving like dudes out here with the hot girl summers and all that.
yeah.
They
I was
are
gonna say
dudes
to
Yo,
out
DJ's
here.
point, it is kind of shifting where you're getting more women who are more
kind of shifting.
Yeah, yeah, or taking on those same
We
traits that
both
they
have
don't really care as much as they used to, and so I think that's
both.
where a lot of
Urban
the
pop
friction between the
culture.
sexes come from now. So they're kind of owning that at this point. Some of these younger people are. Um,
Urban popular
Now that's
culture.
there,
that's urban popular culture
there
right
you
there.
go.
That's for
That
Yep.
sure, man.
is.
Yeah,
That is a
That
perfect
I got a question
example.
for y'all though.
definitely is.
Do y'all think, and I kind of touched on this earlier, but directly asking, do y'all think relationships can survive cheating? And I'll give you personal examples because I've cheated, I've been cheated on,
Yeah, they have.
and so I know both sides of it, right?
When you were cheated on, did you stay or did you leave?
That's I was gonna say that. Let me finish. See, so
Okay, finish.
I've had a situation where I've been cheated on and tried to work it out, and I've had a situation where I've been cheated on and I left, right? And so what I'm asking
What was the difference
is
in the
there
two?
a because
No, no, wait, go back, go back. What was the difference in the working out and the leaving? What made you try and work
I knew
out
what
with
kind of dirt
one,
I
and what
did.
made you leave?
If I know I
Say
did
that
dirt
again.
and you did dirt, how I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's
So
not
you
fair
must
for
have
me to
really
be
So
liked
is that the
this
one you
person.
worked it out with? What? Why did you leave the other one
because
then?
I wasn't on dirt, and it's like now it's that's ain't nothing to talk about. You know what I mean?
you
Like,
had no guilt.
right, I didn't violate here. So,
So there was no careless whisper
So your
there,
feelings
huh?
was hurt, so you
well, here's
left.
the thing. I just felt like maybe if things didn't, I guess it was circumstances and the way things kind of played out that made me say this ain't worth trying to save. This is, whereas,
Did you catch them
hmm?
up? I'm being nosy now. I'm doing a deep dive
What
in your cheating life. Did you catch both of them up to
I
find out that
caught
they were
one,
cheating?
and one confessed. But when I got that confession, I was like, yeah, I want to be mad. My instincts tell me to be mad, but I can't be mad because I got a confession for you too. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it was one of those situations.
So
But
So
y'all
like
both
tip
were
attack.
unfaithful to each other.
in that scenario,
Okay.
yes. But that was young. That's younger. And then in the other one, that was a you got caught. Eating popcorn is just pop. But no, I'm messing with you. But no. So what I'm saying is that I've seen both sides of it. I'm just asking, do y'all feel like it can be something that is you can come back from, or is it absolute deal breaker? It's off the table. We're
I
done.
think that if you're married and if you choose to work it out, yeah, it's possible. But I think from both parties, whether if it's a woman or if it's a guy, there's gonna be some trust issues. So it's like you might as well not even.
Hmm.
Mm.
I think that what it is, that I think you have to, if you can't, because the when you if you say you forgive someone, and I'm sure we've heard this phrase before, the forgiveness is not for the person, it's for you. And if you
Hmm.
can't forgive
Right.
yourself, then you're always going to hold that resentment against that other person. So if you know that that is something that you can't do, then yes, it's probably that action is probably insurmountable. But if you feel like you can forgive yourself because of maybe what you all have invested outside of that part of your
Yep.
relationship, you might have a chance. But it can't be something that when things get crazy, that comes back. Because as soon as that comes back,
Right.
your contention
Mhm.
comes back. So
Right.
then you
Yep.
lied to yourself. I really didn't get over it.
Yep.
And that's the
You
part.
wasn't ready over.
And
Yep.
people want to believe that they can get over it, but they really can't.
Right.
And I think that's where the problem comes in.
Absolutely
So
right.
true. So
For
true.
me personally,
Well, I've never dated anybody that didn't cheat on me. I've always called people up, and it's like beginning phase. You know, people lie because they want to try and get you, so they do and say anything they can to try and win you over. And a lot of times they have relationships that they're in the process of that they haven't ended yet. A lot of stuff just happens. So I can't say it's not one person that I did, but I have one person that I've been dealing with for 26 years. Outside of him, there's not one person that I've dated that didn't cheat first. And when I say cheat first, that means that you did something and then it just lost my emotional trust. And then I from there downhill, I did me. Like one thing I pride myself on is I might still be here and but believe me you, I'm making a plan to get the hell away from you. I just haven't did it yet. So until I do it, then I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna act like I'm agreeing with you and I'm
Oh,
forgiving you, but
that's
you're not
women
gonna
right
like
there,
me.
boy.
You're
That
not.
is that's
That's
That's the
women.
emotional checkout.
Not gonna like me. So that's why I don't emotionally trust people anymore because it'll wind up getting your feelings hurt. So I don't even allow people to say they dating me. You can't say you dating me. We friends. I'm friends with everybody. So that way you can't question me. I don't answer questions. I don't deal with drama. I don't do a lot of stuff because I'm too old. I'm 46 years old right now, and I don't have time to be trying to cut or shoot nobody because of something that they have done. So, in order to protect my peace and my space, and and I'm single as fuck. Excuse my language. Can I say that? I'm very single. So, I don't answer to
You ain't
nobody,
got
and
time to cut or
I
shoot
don't
nobody.
listen.
Spoken like a true grown
I
woman.
don't have
You know,
time
it's so
for it.
funny because she said that
So
she don't
yeah,
even. What did you say? You said something to the fact of, you don't even call it dating. I was just, I was just mentioning that earlier.
no, you can't claim me, and I'm not claiming you. There's nobody that can claim me because I'll hurt your feelings. Like, don't say that we together, and don't tell nobody else none of my business. Don't talk about me in public. Like, I don't like none of that. Keep whatever we got to
Let me
whatever
tell you
we got,
something.
and
You
then
know what's interesting about that?
mm-hmm.
Back 25 years ago, we used to hear aunties talk just like
Yeah, she auntie now.
she
and
She
I'm
the auntie
auntie
that's a
now.
now,
real
right?
auntie conversation. I ain't got time to be cutting and shooting
Listen,
nobody. That's the
I
auntie.
was,
listen, I don't have time for it. So in order to protect my peace, y'all know I get headaches. So I don't have time because I overreact and I have trauma. I have a lot of trauma right now. So people have to understand that I
Oh
overreact.
man.
And you see me in
Yeah,
action, so you know
I feel you.
I'd be better off just being very honest, and you be very honest with me, and then
I
we
was
keep it
saying
moving from
something
there.
similar to
So
that earlier, but slightly different. The way that I operate now is that because you have the talking stages, then if you decide to date, then you decide to date, and then it could possibly lead to a relationship. So now I'm just talking to like different people, not even dating, just talking, and then
mhm.
I begin to put you in a
Yeah.
category. If you are if I analyze you and I see that you are that we're kind of that we're compatible, then I put you in this category. If you're not, then I put you in the category called the trash category. Like there's just certain categories, and then from there I'll just begin editing and erasing, yeah,
In the
stuff like
trash
that.
in
Like
the
I
trash
don't
bin.
have time.
Mhm.
You ever think you miscategorize somebody? Like maybe you read a sign wrong and put
Oh
them in the
yeah, I was
wrong
talking
space,
about that
and then
earlier. Um, there was this guy that I started talking to, and very good we had very good conversation. He would talk about his family and things like that. And I had him on TikTok, but I never had him on Facebook. So I just began to like look for him on Facebook, and I didn't have him as a friend. So I could see some of his page, and I saw a little boy there. So when the next time I spoke to him, I said, "Do you have a son?" And he said, "Yeah, I have a son." And I said, "How come you never spoke about this? You always speak about your family, your mom, but how come you never spoke about your son?" So I told him that I was a little bit upset with it, and he said, "Oh, how could you be mad that I have a son?" And I said, "It's not the fact that I'm mad that you have a son; it's the fact that you didn't tell me that you had a son. You weren't honest
yeah,
with me about that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I still gave him another chance.
But let me play devil's advocate. When y'all had a conversation originally, did you ask him did he have kids and he
And
said
that part
no,
never came
or
up.
you
It,
just
it never
never
even
came
it
up?
never even crossed my mind. Um,
Okay,
if y'all talked about
okay,
family though, that's the cue to talk about my son. I
right,
have
and
a
he
son.
didn't he
yeah,
didn't speak up on it. So
exactly.
then this time,
Yeah,
Right.
I spoke to him afterwards, and I asked him. Were you married before? I asked him 3 times. 3 times. Was he married? He told me no. So the very next day, he calls me back and he said, because he knows I'm a woman of God. He said, if it's in God's will for me to be with you, then we'll just be together. He said, but I have to tell you the truth. And he said, I was married before. So that I got mad at that. And I didn't even tell him that I got mad at that. I just began to like fade it away. And I just put him in trash. Like, so now I see how you are. You're a liar from the beginning. I don't want to deal with that. I don't have. So you lied about having a son. You lied about not being married before. I don't. What else are you lying about? So I just put him in the trash category. And I just next.
Well, you know what? That's fair because you found out some things early on that weren't quite
Then
true.
there's a
That
Right.
he could have been
then
honest with
there's
up front.
another
So
guy.
Yeah.
Now I want to.
He said, I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to him, and he said, I said, are you married? He said I'm legally married, but I'm not emotionally, and I just like just go.
Oh,
So I'm putting
that's one
these
of
people,
the
I'm
worst
talking to you. I'm
answers
not even, I
ever.
don't want to have coffee. I don't want to have dinner.
I've heard
I
that
don't want to do
before.
all any of that now. I just want to talk to you. I want to hear you out first. And then if it's something, then we can like go, go for it. Cause I don't want to waste my time. Like I'm just so,
That's
yeah, I don't have
Right.
time.
you know what, Fonda. When you
But
say that, that's actually an interesting point. Um, I wanna
before
talk
you go
about.
on, can I answer B's question?
Yes, I want you. Please answer that question. I'll answer it too, and then I wanted to ask another question. Go ahead.
Well, this is something I want to know,
Can a
and this kind
relationship
of goes into
survive
something
cheating?
I want to know as a loyalist. Like I said earlier, I'm a bit of an anomaly because I've never cheated on anybody I've been with. I'm the type of person that just walks away. Once
Okay.
I've decided that I don't that if my heart is able to get set on somebody else, that means I'm done with you. So there's no point in me cheating on you because at that point I'm done. So it's a waste of time to me. So I'm just going
Okay.
to break up with you and go on about my way. That's always how I've operated. I have been cheated on before and stayed in the relationship. I've been cheated on and left the relationship. But in general, where I am now in my life, if I were to be cheated on now, that would be a deal breaker. I don't think the relationship would be able to survive because I've been through too much. Um, I don't like to say that I have trust issues because I'm not the type of person. Even now, I'm not going to be going through your phone and asking you questions. That's too much stress for me.
Mm-hmm.
If 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 your behavior puts me in a position to where I feel like I can't trust you, then there's no point in us in continuing to even talk to you. I might as well just nip that in the bud. But if we're in a committed relationship and you cheat on me, I'm probably not even gonna waste any time trying to ask all these stupid ass questions and try to figure it out and all that stuff. You broke a cardinal rule in the relationship. So what is there to talk about at this point? Because I'm not going to be able to trust you going forward. Especially if you cheat on me, knowing everything that I've been through, knowing that I have trust in you, and knowing that I'm a very open person, we're going to talk about everything. Nothing's going to be a mystery. You're not going to have to read my mind or figure shit out. I'm a very, okay, if there's a problem, let's solve it. I'm not going to
Right.
be giving you the silent treatment and making you try to read between the lines and any of that other bullshit.
Right.
I'm a very mature person. So we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to have one of those kind of relationships from the beginning. So if after all that you decide to cheat on me, then you're playing games. And now I
Okay.
cannot trust you. So if I can't trust you with me, now I have other people involved. I have my children. I can't trust you with them. I'm not going to trust you with the finances. I'm not going to
Good
trust you with
point.
my car or in my house because I don't know
Right.
what you're going to do.
yeah,
Yep.
You've already shown me that you're not loyal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if you're not loyal to me, then what reason do I have to believe that you wouldn't throw me under the bus if
Mm-hmm.
you had to, or that you wouldn't steal from me? Because
Right.
right now I'm seeing that you have your best interest at heart. You're not worried about me. You're not worried about us. You're worried about yourself.
Yep.
Well,
So if that's the type of person
that's
that you are, then
you
why
know
would we
what.
What's cheating to you though? Like if is cheating texting someone? Is it making calls? Is it having physical relationship? Like What do you consider cheating?
I guess it would be all of that because that's dishonest. If you're texting somebody secret, anything that you're not be doing in the open, then there's something behind that.
Mm.
If you are texting another woman, then I should know who this woman is. It shouldn't be a secret. You know what I'm saying? If you are talking to somebody on the phone, there's no reason why you should have to go into another room. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you want to have a private
Yeah, there
conversation with
is.
your mama. Hold on. You want to have a private conversation with your mama, your brother, or a friend. I don't care. But if you're going into a conversation because you don't want me to know who you're talking to, or you're trying to be, real secretive about it, then that's a problem.
But
So
let's
if you're doing something that you can't do out in the open,
That
there's
is
an
very
issue
true.
there.
Because what if
let's
he's
be honest with
confiding
each
in
other
that
though.
Yeah.
person?
Let's
That's considered cheating to me. That's considered cheating. You're going out there and you're being
well
emotionally um attached to someone else. You're
let,
confiding personal things that you shouldn't be telling her, but you should be telling me. That's to me that's cheating.
let me
Right.
Maybe he tried and you weren't listening.
well wait a minute. I think that's perfect though. Let me say one thing. That's perfect, LaFonda. So let me ask the question because everybody does, and Viv, that was a great point. Everybody defines
Hmm.
cheating differently, but
Hmm.
I think, and let me know what y'all think. I think that it's still repairable. I think it's repairable if the guy has been talking to another woman, or maybe there's been some type of emotional affair. But I think once it passes the physical, is where most people are like, okay, it's gone way too
Yeah.
far. So I think a lot of relationships may be repairable in that phase before it gets to that point. Once it's gone physical,
Y'all hear my TV? I'm sorry,
hmm,
I'm not cutting you off, but can you hear my
or
TV? Or
a
is it
little
I'm
bit,
okay?
No, we definitely hear it.
a little. I'm gonna edit it.
I'm sorry, Christian, turn
I'm
it
gonna mute
down
it out
so
though. I'm gonna mute it. I'm gonna
you
mute
gonna
it
mute
out.
okay.
Anytime
Because
you're
I'm
not
like,
talking, I'm
it's
gonna mute it
loud.
out. So don't worry about it. You good.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm like,
I
what
hear a
the
little
I'm sorry.
in the back.
Oh
Yes,
man.
he watching
It's
the
all
Family
good.
Guy, so I'm
It ain't
sorry.
really you can't hear it
But
that
it's
much.
true
That
because
But
bad.
I
as
think
like
once it
Okay,
Yaya
gets to
said,
that
she said, why are you texting? Why are you going into the other room? Like what are you hiding? What is it that you can say everything
I could
here
be
out
planning
in
your
the
surprise party.
open?
You don't know.
You know what?
You don't know.
he got the
I'm just saying,
answers.
just because you think it's suspect, don't necessarily mean my behavior is suspect. Maybe I don't need you to hear this conversation. I could literally be planning something for you. I'm just saying, you don't know, but you're assuming that in that situation, I
then
might be
then
on something
you
crazy.
should be better. You
well
should be better at
Yeah,
hiding that.
absolutely.
Then
Well,
you shouldn't be
well
so
let's assume
maybe
obvious.
maybe that
You
phone
know.
call that I was waiting for to tell me that this place was booked happened to come when I was sitting at the table with you, and I need to go walk away so I can talk. You don't know. What I'm saying
Then
is
tell
you
me it's
can't
your mama
automatically
or
make the
something. You know
assumption
what I'm
I'm doing
saying?
something wrong.
well let's assume that
Be
it's let's
better. Be
assume that it's
better at it.
reckless though. Let's assume that it is wrong. Let's assume that it is
It
wrong.
probably is wrong. But I'm just
Can
saying
it
it's the
survive?
possibility that
It,
it could not
is
be.
is
He
Survive
helping
is
from
with the
sex the
Mexico.
party.
is sex the line where most people are like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that
Yes.
where
Yeah,
it?
Depends on where you are
you'll
in
Absolutely.
lose
life,
my
though, Tim.
emotional availability by
It
Well, I'm
crossing that
depends
saying
on
line.
where you are in
before you
life.
cross that line of actual sex with another person, do
Hmm.
you feel like it's more repairable if you found out that B was in the other room, not planning a party, but he was talking to Bonquisha or whoever? You know what I mean? Like, is it
I
still
wouldn't talk to her about
repairable?
Quisha.
I think you
I
can
don't know.
talk
Renee,
it out,
From
work it out, figure out what the problem is, what's the disconnect between you two, like really get into it. Yes, I think, some things can happen, but no, once it crosses that physical line, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole spiritual thing. That goes way back to
yep,
LaFonda's point about disease and all of that, like were you wearing protection, like all of these things come into
yeah,
play. So
yeah, you can't touch me again
yeah,
after
yeah,
that.
right,
Let,
It's,
that's
right,
it's
well,
done.
that's
right. You
let me
feel
suicide.
you just
No.
ugh.
Yeah.
You just now he's got the ick on
Mm-mm.
him. You're like
Right.
ugh.
let
You was
Yeah.
let me
all
give mine
with
real
this
quick
other
too.
And
woman.
if
Ugh.
you see her and she is not,
Right.
I'm gonna
no,
give mine real quick as a
men
man,
don't
right?
always
So
keep up.
I've been cheated on and cheated, right? So
Mhm.
I've been married
Hmm.
10 years. Luckily, we ain't had no issues on that level, right? But in my younger
Hmm.
days, I definitely cheated. Um, Probably on most people I've been with. I probably cheated on most people. I'll be honest with you. But at the same time, I've been cheated on before too. This is like younger days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But point being is that I think like for me, like I'm a Scorpio, like I'm unforgiving. You
Oh
know,
my goodness.
When's your birthday?
October 23rd, I'm unforgiving.
Y'all
My
Scorpios get
sister,
on my
My sister
nerves.
is
My
one.
birth's a Scorpio, and I was
All
raised
right,
by
let's
a
not have a
Scorpio,
whole
but
hating
Mhm.
Scorpio show now.
I'm not.
Only
I'm not.
positive
But I just
attributes,
want y'all to
please.
know that y'all is a different type of cheater.
But we, you know what it is. We also are very loyal. But I would say, as a man, um,
Loyal to what?
Right. This coming from somebody who said he pretty much cheated on everybody.
I was like, loyal to
He loyal to the game.
that's
Shy,
all
you
I'm,
redeem
He's loyal
yourself.
to the game.
Redeem yourself, Shy. That
but
last.
not
Loyal
everybody.
to
But I'm saying
something.
in the younger in younger days. But you know what? I'm just being honest because you know what? At the same time, like it's funny too, because men like the first time I was ever cheated on in a serious relationship, you know, I was like late teens, late teens or whatever. And man, you would have thought like I acted like, oh my God, how can you do this to me?
Yeah.
When I found out, but then I know I did like three times more than that, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Why do y'all do that?
huh?
Why do y'all act like y'all
Well,
haven't cheated when
that's why
y'all
I'm
really
being
have?
honest because I think that that's the main crux of the problem with a lot of open relationships, quote unquote. Because I think a lot of times, and I'm just saying what I think. I don't know if this is true. I think a lot of times women aren't so much wanting to do it all the time. I think sometimes you have where women are like, okay, let me like, men might talk a woman into getting into it. You know what I'm saying? Or the women might be down. But I think a lot of times when you get into it, what's crazy is that a lot of times the guys, when you start getting into it as a man, you're gonna have to be because there's always pros and cons. You might feel like, okay, good, I get the variety, I get to do whatever, and then but you got to deal with the other side of having a man with the woman you with,
With your woman.
and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that for most men, my point is for most men, um, you ain't gonna be able to really run with that. It ain't gonna last. Even if you deal with it once or twice, you just ain't gonna look at your lady the same. You ain't gonna feel the same. And I'm not saying there aren't men that can't deal with it, but men are I don't think men are really built for that unless they recategorize the woman that they're with. If I could recategorize who you are, then it might work. But if you're like the my woman and you're like my ace, it's gonna be hard for me to be like, okay, I'm sharing you with the game. Because
You know what?
now I'm either gonna put you in a different category or I'm gonna form
Yeah,
some
I have to look
level
at
of
you different. But here,
you know what I'm saying?
I think it's survivable or the sustainability of it after something like that depends on how strong the foundation is,
Gotta
right?
be a hell of a
Because like I said,
foundation, bro.
I've been in both situations, and I stayed that one where I stayed had a stronger foundation than the one where I left. Even if it just the reaction to the situation is you have to be accountable. If you're gonna, if you're gonna play that game, if you want somebody to stay, you have to be accountable for your actions, right? So you have to. It's a lot that goes into that. I think it can sustain. I think there are even marriages where it does happen. People will stay through it, but you're right. You will look at the other person different. And
Now,
I
B,
think
I'm sorry.
DJ talked on
Are
it
you
before
talking
about in
about
terms of
swinging?
forgiveness and like if you gonna keep rehashing it, you ain't really forgave nothing, and you probably shouldn't be in it. So it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of strength, but it can be done if that foundation is strong enough to survive it.
Now,
So
B, I'm sorry.
I
Are you
guess.
talking about cheating or are you talking about open relationships?
I was talking about cheating, open relationships. That's a I never tried it, never did it,
Because
but
cheating, I think works. And to your point, real quick, I just want to address something too. Like, I think cheating for a man, and again, I'm speaking based on what I think. I think cheating for a man, if you found out your woman cheated on you and you cheated already, then you might be more likely to be able to handle it. Um, versus being like, okay, you cheated on me and I didn't cheat on you. A lot of times for a man, you're like, oh, word, I didn't
yeah,
do
that's
it,
a blow.
and you
That's a
did it.
blow.
It's a blow, but it's less of a blow when you did something because you're like, you know what, damn, you know what, eh, she got me back or
Right,
whatever the
game is
case is.
game. Right, it is what it is.
But
So
if you didn't do it, you're like, okay. So I'm more likely to be more forgiving if I did do it. So I'm at a point in my life now, more mature. I'm at a point in my life now where, as you get older, you feel like, okay, you may have more to lose, especially if you have a family. And it's like it's not even necessarily worth it because you've already kind of
That
lived and
part.
said, you know what, okay,
Right.
the
And
variety
I
ain't
think,
worth the drama that comes
Right.
with my life. And that's one of the things with monogamy. I think a lot of people have it to have less drama in their life
and
because
that is the
Mm,
key point,
that's
you know
twin,
what I'm
true.
right
saying.
there. That's the key point
Yeah.
is the lack of drama. I think that's the reason why a lot of people, well, me in particular, somebody who's, I guess I call myself a loyalist because I don't cheat. If I just walk, I just leave. I'm not going to deal with the bullshit. I'm not going to deal with the lies, especially at this stage of my life. It's like I'm the type of person like I will give you 100%. I will walk on broken glass for you. I got you. I'm there for you. I, I'm the type of woman that you can talk to about anything. I have a very open mind. I'm not the type of person that's gonna freak out and have all the drama and all of this stuff in my life because I've evolved as a person. Even through all of the pain and the trauma that I've been through, I've evolved as a woman. So this might sound very bougie, but I consider myself almost the perfect partner at this stage because of what I've been through. I understand myself so much. So that gives me a zero tolerance for the bullshit. Like I'm just not going to deal with the drama with you. So if you feel I'm not the type of person. I'm not driving by your house. I'm not blowing up your phone.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm just not gonna talk to your ass no more. So if you feel like after all I've done for you, because I'm gonna give 1,000%. Okay, there's no reason why you should be unhappy. And if there is a problem, I'm a problem solver type. Let's talk about it. Let's fix it. Let's come to a resolution. Let's work it out. If you're not able to talk to me, I'm not a mind reader. If I can't figure this shit out, if it's not, if we're not able to get to that place, then I don't know what to tell you. But I feel like after all that I've given, after all that I've put in, and you decide that you want to go on and be with somebody else, keep on stepping. Then we don't have shit else to talk about at that point.
Right.
I'm gonna
Amen.
go ahead and yeah, it might hurt. Yeah, I might cry, but I know me at this stage of my life. I'll get over it.
Right.
I'll be okay
Mm-hmm.
because I value my peace
Yeah.
over the
Right.
bullshit.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we can't have a mature relationship where we can just talk about everything
Mm-hmm.
and be best friends and partners, then what else? What is there
Well,
really?
I think that's the struggle of men, right? So, and again, it goes
And
back to
it's
men and
really
women.
hard to find another man who thinks on that level. That's really I at least personally I have found that very difficult to find a man who is that mature and thinks
No, there's
on that
men. There's
level.
plenty. There's plenty of
Yeah, I
men
would
There's
who
say that.
think
plenty.
on
Yeah.
that level.
They're
Where
out there.
where are
Plenty.
they at?
There's plenty. There's plenty
It's
of
a
them.
lot. It's a
Where
lot.
Not all men are out there
I
yeah,
think
cheating,
plenty of
contrary to
fish.
popular belief.
There's a lot of men out there that think on that level, but
I'm
then
finding I'm having a really difficult
most
time.
women, most women drive them to do what they do. I'm
Oh,
just
say
gonna
that
be
again. Say
honest.
that
Hey, how
louder.
about that, right?
They do. Most women drive them to do what they do. And like you said, you the perfect. I've had a lot of friends. Y'all know I've hung with a lot of females. I don't hang with a lot of females anymore, but I've hung with a lot of females. And everybody always think they the perfect partner. I'm just gonna be honest. Everybody say, "Well, I'm the best. I got this. My shit don't stink. I got the best in the world." Everybody think that they are the top tier when it comes to relationships, and a lot of times you not. A lot of men are sitting at home with women that won't even get up and cook or
I'm
clean,
not one of them.
and I'm not saying that's you, but I'm just saying there's a lot of women that don't do
That's
that. It's
true.
a lot of women that don't want to sit in the house and be quiet, or not be quiet, but be still. They want to go out and still
That's true.
party, which that's me. I ain't gonna lie. I used to go out. It's a lot of women that just talk back, and that's just
That's true.
mean. Like they have attitudes, and then they think like they the best, but your attitude is shit. So it's a lot of people that do stuff or that that think that they are this top tier person or this top tier partner, but you're really not compatible with who you with, and that's why he's doing what he do. So that's why I know that's why I'm single. I ain't gonna lie. That's why I am single, and I'm not looking for a mate at all. I love where I'm at in life right now because I can do what I want
I
when
know
I
that's
want
right.
how I want it, and I don't have
And
to answer to
nobody.
Yeah.
anybody.
That is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
So I love my life. I have kids. I have a 12-year old. I'm not about to bring another man around my son, because it's and I have a 3-year old granddaughter. I'm not about to bring nobody in my household to ruin what we have, and then it don't work out, and then now my kids know
Right.
this man, and now it didn't work. I'm this kind of person. The next relationship I have is gonna be like my grandparents, where we gonna date in separate households. I don't want to be married. You can't come live with me. You got to stay at your
This is
house, and
auntie.
we
This
can
is
get married.
auntie
We can
game. You
travel
dropping if
together.
I ever heard
I
it.
am. That is what I'm on. I'm sorry because you're not about to embarrass me and you're not about to hurt my feelings because I am going to come back and hurt yours.
No, it's real
So
talk.
therefore, to alleviate all of that, let's just be friends. Let's just my grandma had a Mr. Charles. You can be Mr. Whoever, and I'm gonna tell you this. You is not about to interrupt or disrupt my household. And you is not about to come around my kids and then now I can't trust you anymore. And then there's a lot of perverts
That
out
is
here
Yeah.
too.
absolutely
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
again, it's hard to trust people because you don't know their background. You be dating this man and you never looked in his records, and this man been he on the damn school watch because he can't be
Right.
around kids. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff that goes into
Hmm.
dating that people
Mm-hmm.
don't
Right.
vet.
Absolutely.
If you're not vetting that, that's why I say I don't. It take a lot to get to me. Like I tell people, I got this one guy that I'm talking to that lives. He lives in another state, and we talk, we text all the time. We trying to figure out a time so we can go meet, and but it's not that. You know what I'm saying? Like I told
You
him,
have the freedom.
I'm looking for
Yeah, no,
friendship,
I was saying
huh?
you have the, and that's another interesting point too, because there are a lot of people who get older and they also don't necessarily want monogamy either. In an older age, they may just want, like
Look,
you
I
said,
got somebody
companionship.
that I've had for 26 years, and this man have loved me, and I have loved him. And even though it's not anything physical right now, we still are
Hmm.
emotionally attached. And I tell everybody, but when you ask me about me and what I'm doing, I tell you, I have somebody that I've been dealing with for a long
Hmm.
time. And this person has helped me throughout my whole life. Since I was 18, I've
Okay.
known him. So like I would never stop talking to this
Hmm.
person. However, it's not physical, but it's always going to be an emotional. I talked to him today. It's always going to be an emotional attachment with me and
Hmm.
him. So I don't like to send people off and give them false hope. But I'm open to friendships. That's why I say I'm not trying to date. I'm not trying to answer no questions. But I'm cool. We can go out. We can kick it. We can date. We can
Hmm.
party, and But that's about as far as I'm willing to go right now. And then I need counsel. I need therapy. So until I get therapy for the trauma that I've been through, y'all don't want to deal with my crazy. So people better
You've needed therapy since you were 14. I'm just
grow
saying.
up.
Well,
No,
I
I
think
don't
a
need your
lot. I think a
intervention.
lot of relationships need more than we know. A lot of relationships need therapy and also a lot of honest conversation, because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
this question of, and even cheating was another aspect I wanted to even touch on, is that what you find a lot of times with cheating, quote unquote, there's an element that people like about, men and women alike, like about cheating, that is, I'm sneaking or I'm getting away with something. Many times what's weird is that so you ever see a situation where a person is cheating and the other person find out and they say, well, all right, go ahead, you know what I'm saying, and it deflates the whole affair. The person who's being cheated on says,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really worried about it, or y'all go ahead and be together. Then the two people don't want to be together no more. So you find a lot of
Yep.
times where people will, someone will cheat and be like, oh, I just got to be with this other person, or I'm really intrigued. And
It's
then
the
as soon
thrill.
as,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
as soon as
Hmm.
as soon as
As soon as
as
they
soon
get
as you get
caught.
caught, and it's like, well, y'all, you know what? Y'all should go ahead and be together then. Then all of a sudden it doesn't work out,
Mhm.
No, I
and
wouldn't
it's
be with her. She a
interesting.
It
cheater.
doesn't.
Why would I be as the person you're
Yeah,
cheating with?
yeah.
No, I'm not
So,
staying with you. You're not coming over here.
Right?
No.
It
Okay.
deflates the whole
But
thrill.
even if you have a girl and she found out you was cheating and she was like, I don't want to be bothered with it no more, most guys will stop the affair that they're having to try and
Yes,
fix what they
that's
have at
exactly what
home.
I'm talking about. And you're right, because
Facts.
they're the psychology, and I'm gonna let you rock, LaFon. I know you bursting at the seams too. I know that's interesting. I find that very interesting about affairs because you're absolutely right. You'll find where a woman will be like, you know what, go ahead, be with her. Then all of a sudden the guy's like, you know what,
I don't
no,
really
I want
want
to be
to.
with you.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
but Fonda, go
yeah.
ahead. I know you
I think that
was gonna say something.
that falls in the line of like, okay, so you said when she says go ahead to be with you, he realizes that he really wants to be with the woman that he was initially with, correct? So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe that, and y'all can let me know if y'all agree or not. Men, because men cheat differently. The reason why women cheat most of the time is because she's been emotionally checked out. But I believe that for a man, when a man cheats, is because even though he has his woman that he's in that relationship with, it's something that she was giving him that he's not receiving anymore, and so he's like, okay, she wasn't giving me this, so I need to find that in another woman. And so that's why he's went off to that other woman. And so when that and the woman that he was initially with says, okay, you can go ahead and be with her. And he's like, no, I still want to be with you. It's only that one thing that he wanted from that particular woman that was missing from the initial woman.
The 80-20 rule.
So
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? I would say that's true in some cases, but I think surprisingly, I think that's also not even a factor in some cases. There are, I think that men, not all men, because there's always different reasons for people cheating, but I think men just simply sometimes want variety. And the fact is, it's not something that the woman is lacking all the time. It's there's women, even a twin. You said earlier, you'll walk on glass. I mean, there's plenty of women that'll do anything for their man, and they do everything under the sun. And it's it's nothing. It's nothing that a woman is lacking sometimes for men to cheat. It's just men. A lot of times, say, let's take guys who have a lot of resources. So women who marry NBA players, basketball players, football players, musicians, men who have a lot of resources, a lot of access, almost 99.9 or 100% cheat. Why? Because they have access. They have
Hmm.
access for variety. So to your point, Fonda, I think that there are men who will cheat just for the variety. But I think what happens is that once the woman that they really, if the man really loves that woman, because see, men can really love a woman and cheat on her at the
Hmm.
same time, and then feel like, you know what, damn, I'm gonna lose you. Then all of a sudden, he's stressed now because
Mm.
now it's not just a relationship affair that I can go back to the woman I really love. Now I'm about to lose something I really care about, and
Right.
now I'm too stressed out to enjoy this affair. So you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So now it's like, I gotta focus on you. So
So
I
you
think
realize the
that
affair wasn't worth it.
yeah, yes, exactly. The fair becomes not worth it because now you're really losing something. So I think that that's a lot of times what happens with an affair. You almost suck the air out of that affair. You suck the energy out of that affair once the person knows, because now it's like, damn, this ain't even something fun I'm doing. Now I'm
Mhm.
actually facing the
well, why even
consequences
do that in the
of it.
first
So,
Mhm.
place?
well, no, I agree. I
Men don't
agree.
think.
I
Like,
think you
why
got to
you
make a
gonna?
choice. So I think that even if you
They use their own brain when they thinking. So men are they lust a lot. Men are lustful cheaters for the most part, and they go and try and conquer something that they've never had. So if they see women that are to their taste exotic, they try and get that, and they know they have something good at home, but they still want to try out what they
Hmm.
see. And that's just a weakness that men have. And like to y'all point, monogamy really a thing of this generation? It really is something that a lot of people take time to look into, because polygamy is running big in our generation now. A lot of people are polygamous now because they find out that one mate is not always just good for you, because it can become stressful. It can become a headache. So when you have a, a extra here, and then as long as you can afford to cheat, then and you have people that are willing to do it, then a lot of people are just going to the poly relationships because it's just easier and it's better, and then they can split their time between the two people or however they have their relationship built. So men are definitely lustful cheaters, and women more are emotional. So
I think
we
some men
emotionally attach
cheat for the
ourselves
they cheat for sport, just
for
for the
thrill.
thrill of it, just
Yeah,
for the game, just to
for
see what they
thrill.
can get away with.
Believe me, I got cousins. I hang with all guys. Y'all got to understand this conversation with me. I hang with too many guys to be a very emotional creature. So I'm not like the regular emotional person that you would think, because I don't give a shit about a lot of stuff. You just tell me the truth and I'm gonna tell you the truth. If we can do us and you are honest with me, then hey, we can go from there. But it's just the dishonesty that always gets to me, because you don't have to lie. And most people get caught in their lies because they're trying to do whatever they can to keep you, but then like they still want to be lustful and go out there and do other things.
The
And
game.
I want to do other things too. Why you didn't tell me? Like it's two of us in this relationship. If you get to go out and step out and do what you want to do, allow me my time and my opportunity to
That's
do
what I
the
was
Well,
same
gonna say.
I'm
thing.
so glad you
Because
Give
said
me
that,
the
Viv, because
option.
that's the whole
thank
point
you.
of this conversation too. Because I think that the question is, I think that want is there to an extent for women too. I think they just
Yes.
deal with it better, and they handle a little bit better most of the time than men, because men are typically gonna go for. So, like I said, like if you're an everyday man, you may have options, right? You may have options depending on the women you're around and all that. But if you have a lot of resources, that's why I said a lot of men with a lot of resources, you have more options because you're going to have more opportunity for women. So men a lot of times are as faithful as their options in many cases, or they're not really even tested until they have a lot of options. So you know what I'm saying?
You know how many good choices I gave up trying to be faithful? Oh my God, I could smack myself in the face right now. Never ever again. But I gave up a lot of great options trying to be faithful to somebody that wasn't shit. So excuse my language. I'm sorry. That wasn't
This ain't a kid show. It's all
that
right.
didn't amount to anything. I'm sorry, that didn't amount to anything. But it's like I could have always upgraded. I'll say that to everybody that I've dated. I always had an upgrade that was in my ear, but I didn't give them the type of time because I was trying to make what I had work. And after so many failed relationships, like I said, a lot of people have stepped out on me. I ain't gonna lie. I stepped out on them too. But anyway, it just goes to show that I play tit for tat. So if you do something to me, I'm playing chess. I'm gonna get you back at some point in life. I don't care how it's gonna be. I'm gonna get you back at some point in life.
Well, that's a lot of
So
women.
uh, uh, uh,
That's a lot of women.
exactly. So that's why I don't play those relationship games anymore, because you're not about to get me to commit to you, and then you go do something stupid and you embarrass me, and then now I gotta hurt you. Like I don't have time for that. So therefore, I just rather be single because
I
I
just
like
think
my
Me,
we'll
I
freedom.
just
always be in this
canceled.
I'm just being
perpetual
Canceled.
honest.
You're
cycle.
canceled. You're canceled. You're canceled. You're
Listen,
canceled. Canceled.
What'd you say, DJ?
I just said I think we'll just always continue to be in this perpetual cycle because we are all, even though we say we're not playing games, we're all to an extent playing a game. If I'm holding out over a span of time to make sure that you're going to be around, that's the game that I'm playing with you. if
Yes.
if I'm
Yes.
just trying to get with you as quick as I can, that's the game that I'm trying to play with this particular person. So if we're all playing these games, this is we're always going to be having these conversations because
so who's married, who's single, and who's dating
you're talking about in this in this area.
on this chat? Everybody, what's your
I think it's only
relationship
one married
status?
person here, right? Unless DJ, you married too?
Yes.
So two married people. I think the rest of us are all
Are
single.
you so you single, you single, you single, you single. Okay. Just wanted
Five
to
and
know
two.
if anybody was actually
Not
dating.
Well,
currently dating.
you
Yeah.
you said something though, Viv, that was interesting because that's the whole point. Like I said, I think monogamy has become an unspoken agreement, right? So it's like I'll do it if you do it, and everybody's kind of playing this game like, you not playing by. That's why we call it cheating. Oh, you not playing by the rules? Okay, well I'm about to do what I wanted to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting dynamic because I think that's what monogamy is now. It's kind of an agreement. I'm not saying people don't want to do it because people do. I think people tend to not naturally, but mentally, they tend to go in that direction because there's less drama, and you don't have to have such a wide bandwidth to deal with multiple people, especially if you got a family. It's a lot to go. It's a lot to deal with. So, you know what I'm saying? So the variety ain't worth all the drama. But I think mentally we go towards monogamy because it offers more order for our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course we love the person we may be with, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, as soon as somebody's not playing by the rules, the other person, the reaction is like, oh, well, I'm about to get even, or I'm about to go do it too. A lot of times people don't necessarily leave. They be like, oh, that word, that's how we playing, that's what we doing. Okay, cool. All right,
That's
you don't
right.
know, like you just said, Viv, you don't know what I've been passing up, and the people who've been coming at me, and I could have done this
Listen,
and I could have done that, and I think it's interesting that that's people's first reaction.
y'all see my inboxes right now. Don't play with me. I ain't dating nobody anyway. But
But
what I'm
that's the
saying
that's the
is that
interaction.
I've always had options. Don't play with me
Well,
because I will
Hmm.
get you back.
the argument would be that you were never planning to be faithful either. You just being faithful because I'm being faithful.
I, no, I don't want. I'm not gonna say I don't want to be faithful with somebody. Let me not word it that way. I've gave people opportunities and they've always
So you're
failed
only
me.
as faithful as
So
your partner is.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And when you show me wrong and when you are not consistent, I'm gonna follow suit. You can ask any of my family, my cousin. We used to always go out. If I see you dancing with somebody, I'm gonna grab two dudes and dance with
Yes,
them.
but
Just because I'm not gonna say nothing to you. I asked my cousin, and she watching this live. She will verify that. Don't play with me because I play to win. So if you trying to do something to hurt my feelings, or if I catch you doing something and I see you out in public and it's embarrassment to me, I'm just gonna embarrass you back. I'm
listen, you know
sorry,
what? You
but
know what? You being so honest right now, and I appreciate it.
I'm
The
sorry.
younger generation now. I was seeing something earlier. I was watching some content on this topic, and the younger women, they doing something different now. So, for instance, if their man cheat on them, they'll mess around, and nowadays these rappers are like accessible. So if their man cheat on them, they'll mess around and try to link up with their boyfriend's favorite rapper. They'll go to the concert. They'll do the Chris Brown leg up on Chris Brown picture for $1,000, or let Usher fill them up at the concert
Do you
and
think they really
try
pay that
try
Oh
to
much
get
my
the
money for?
God!
women
I
to
If
side
seen
with
the
them.
guys I
photos.
dated knew what I
Do
did,
you think they paying
They
$1,000
do.
Yeah,
to take a photo with somebody?
Girl,
that's it.
absolutely.
That's
yeah.
They
The
real.
really
blood
Yeah,
of
are.
Chris
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
fifteen
Brown,
hundred
yeah,
dollars to
Mm-mm.
take a picture with Chris
$1,000.
Brown.
That is so stupid.
did you say the blood of
Mm-mm.
Jesus? No,
Just
they pay that
paying
money.
paying to take no picture with no
Chris
rapper. It's
Brown,
$1,000.
crazy.
Exactly.
Chris Brown, Usher, they
Crazy.
laughing all the way to the bank, laughing about
Yep.
ruining y'all relationship
Absolutely.
for
Yep.
1,500.
Them cherries that Usher be giving out to them. Oh my God.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
Oh
you got
Lord
money
have
to
mercy.
waste. You
I
stupid.
mean, because that's
Throwing away
Listen.
$1,000 just to take a picture with somebody who don't know you to make you a
right.
man
You
of
know, a
her.
lot of the younger women are scammers, though. I don't know. I'm not gonna say all of them, but a lot of them are scam
Shoot,
artists. So
there's a
they
lot of
find
men
ways
out
to
here
get that money.
scamming. Trying a lot,
And then
True
they
too.
date the
a
it's a
scammers.
lot of these
it's a it's a
sweetheart
different
scammers
world we
out
live
here
in
trying
now.
to
Yeah.
pull
Facts.
on your heartstrings to get money out of you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole monogamy conversation was great. I think we solved it. As DJ
Did we?
said,
We
What
solved the
we
world's
saw?
problem.
as DJ said, we're gonna keep having these conversations
Yep.
for
Mhm.
Until
And DJ
forever.
is
what?
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think that's where we're at. But it was interesting to hear the truth. I appreciate y'all for giving the truth of what is really going on. I think women are just as grimy as men.
We can be. We
And
can be.
no, I'm just joking. I think it is
No,
the
you that's
You're
monogamy.
right.
I
joking,
think
but you're right.
You right as hell.
it's going to continue to be an agreement, an unspoken, well, a spoken agreement or unspoken agreement between partners to decide. You know what I'm saying? I think it's, you make trade offs. You got to give up something to get something, I think, at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And
Mm,
if you don't, if you try to, like I said, I think Will Smith is the greatest example of somebody who tried to do something different. I think that,
mm,
and I don't like to. I think their relationship is just a good example because I think Will Smith was, to me, he's somebody who was probably trying to be monogamous. That's my thought. I could be wrong, and I think Jada.
You think
That's
so?
what I think. I could be wrong, but I think I,
No,
I
you
think at the
probably
core, I
a little
think
bit wrong.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think he wanted to do the regular relationship, typical relationship, and I think Jada Pinkett.
I think they always had an
Probably
agreement.
so. You know what? Let me not make Will Smith the saint here. Better
No,
yet,
you don't use him.
they probably
Don't use
made an agreement at some point, like, yo, let's make sure we have some variety. And it seemed like she was able to she was able to handle it. And something with him, I think it festered in him. Maybe he was able to handle it, but something was festering for a long time. So I think that the point
I
of the
ain't gonna
show is
put
be
Will out
honest
there,
with
but I'm
yourself
just gonna say
before
this.
you smack the shit out of somebody.
They're not the object of monogamy.
What'd you say?
I said they are not the object of
No, they're not.
monogamy.
No,
I'm
No,
I'm saying that
no.
they are the prime example as to you gotta make sure you figure out what you're built for, or else you're gonna end up smacking the shit out of somebody on national TV because things may fester in you for so long. You may think you can deal with something. You may think you can deal with I won't call them polygamy, but you may think you be able to deal with non-monogamy. I'll call it that, right?
mm,
And you may not be able to deal with it. I'm telling you, people
mhm.
think they could deal with it, but
Mhm.
Right.
you really got to ask yourself if you can live in that zone, not just one night, but can you live that life
Mm,
day in
See, you
day
hear
out?
your girl making sounds you never heard before. Now you
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
hmm,
now
yeah,
you
good
all
shit.
broke up and hurt.
yes.
You can't get mad at her
I
because
know
she
you
wasn't
mad at
doing your
yourself.
part.
Now you
Now
all
you mad
hurt.
at yourself. You mad at
Right.
yourself. But before you feel like again, like before you be like, yo, I'm gonna get all this variety, you better be able to handle the whole
Yeah.
thing. And I think a
mhm.
lot of people need to be honest with themselves about that.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to keep her once you get it.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So
Okay, sure.
well, I appreciate y'all. We gonna come back next week with a whole new topic. Anybody who can make it, please come true. I appreciate it. We're gonna come with something totally new as always. Anybody want to shout out anything? Any polygamy websites y'all wanted to shout out?
I haven't joined any yet.
No.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Mm.
Everybody have a great
All
All
weekend.
right.
right, you
Holla
too.
next
Okay.
Okay,
week.
y'all
All right.
too.
All right,
All
All
y'all.
right, y'all.
right.
All right,
Good.
kid.